Hey guys, so a little while ago I started to address the top 5 areas of tension that we have in our body, that we carry tension. There's the top 5 common places. Number 1 is your hands. I did a full video on stretches that you can do to relieve your hand. There's also a hand rolling video. The other areas, shoulders, hips, jaw, and also your feet. This one is going to be stretches for your foot. Now there's a whole foot rolling video that I've already done with a tennis ball, which is awesome. That's one of the best ways to release tension in your feet. But these are just some stretches that you can implement in your classes that will help to release a lot of that tension that most people carry in their feet, sometimes without even knowing. So the first of them is going to be toe flips. So I'll have to kind of show you from the side. What we do is we go through just kind of treading. If you're doing this as a warm-up in your class or just kind of warming up yourself, you go through here, and hopefully you didn't have a pedicure and you got some toenail polish on, but you're gonna go over the toes and then back down. So just flip 2, and it's on the 4 count. If you want to do that in your classes, you can do that with a 32 count phrase. But keep in mind as you're doing this, you're not putting your full body weight on top of your toes. You definitely don't want to do that. This is really more positional, and if there's an impetus or if there's a force, I'm actually thinking about pushing the metatarsal not down, but actually forward. So I'm actually kind of trying to get the stretch to happen here more than it is in the actual toes. So be kind to your toe joints. That's number 1. Number 2, I go into a peroneal stretch. Now your peroneal is a muscle that goes right behind the fibula, that bone, all the way down the back, behind your ankle, all the way underneath the foot, and then it actually wraps around and connects to the ball of your foot at the big toe, right there. So it's a pretty big muscle, pretty big importance for any kind of shifting weight. You need your peroneal quite a bit, and it's a very popular area for tension. Trust me, I know, I've had it for 10 years. So one of my favorite peroneal stretches, now this is a hard one to find for some people because they tend to be really loose in this area, but this is a great stretch for those of you who have really tight peroneals. So if you feel this, great. You start off with your feet very, very much parallel, and you're gonna go into kind of a forward bend. Your knees are bent. And then from there, it's kind of like you're sitting down. Now, where you have your weight in your feet for this one is really important. You want to make sure you've got plenty of weight going through where that peroneal ends, which is the ball of the foot at the big toe. You want to make sure that there's weight there, and you want to make sure that there's also weight on the outside of your foot as you go there. As you bring your knee forward, if you're keeping weight in your heel, you're going to feel a stretch all the way through the side of the foot. If you're not feeling that, try and bend your knees and then just rock around from your ankles, and you should be able to find that stretch. It can sometimes be a hard one to find. The next stretch that we go into is straight out of yoga, and I can barely do it. I'm not a good demonstrator for this one because I have so little mobility this way. But you put both of your feet together, ankles and toes together, and then from there you sit back. You can start right here. I do this because this is where my range of motion ends, but some people can actually put their knees all the way down on the floor, and you just sit down into the ball of your foot. Let me turn it around so you can see it with a light. So you start here, ankles and toes together, all the way down. Sit into your heels so your heels are driving back. And then from there, once you feel like you've got the ball of the foot on the floor, you just sit down right on top of it. That is a massive stretch all the way through your metatarsal, your toes, everything. And if you're feeling like it, another great one to do, and I do this one on my own a lot, a great way to relieve tension is to take your fingers and go in between all of your toes. Sometimes your toes get separation anxiety, so I like to kind of give them independent lives. Stick your fingers through your toes and just kind of hold that, or you can actually take this and turn it into a massage and just point and flex through the foot while keeping all of that space in between. You'd be amazed how much this actually helps relieve tension in your toes and in your feet. And it also helps you improve your balance because you have a wider base of support that's much more controlled. So tons of really good stuff to implement in your classes or just do on your own. A great practice. Just give your feet some love. They do a lot of work for you, and they get neglected oftentimes. And holding tension down there is not an obvious place people don't know about, but it's a really important area to release tension because it can affect the way that you operate through your whole body. After all, the feet are the only things touching anything solid in this world. They're the hand that holds the weight, basically. So if you can kind of make sure the mechanics down there are nice and relaxed, you'll have a much more relaxed mechanism all the way through the rest of your body. So pretty important stuff. Feel free to comment if you have any questions or comments or anything like that. Feel free to reach out. I'm always here. Take care. Bye.